Live streaming is on.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Deja vu, Tim. It seems like I just went to sleep and we woke up and it's Friday again.
Friday morning live.
Friday morning live from World from Here. Hello, I'm Dan Gay, Chief Marketing Officer of BlockSearch Blockchain. I'm joined here with Tim Vasco, who's the founder of BlockSearch Blockchain. And I have this sneaking suspicion that you're going to school us here this morning. I was telling somebody else that this morning.
I don't know. Maybe 30 years worth of school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. What's old is all of a sudden what's new, what's happening today. While one company would like you to believe that it's something brand new. But I know you're going to talk a little bit about that.
It's like baggy jeans are back, Dan.
That's right.
I mean, baggy jeans are back, right?
Yeah, mommy jeans. And I was on REI the other night looking at coats and stuff, and it's like 1970s all over again.
It is. Yeah, so we're gonna jump into that. So let's go. Let's go. Let's get it done. Let's talk about 3 decades later at the world from here.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you're old enough to remember 3 decades, it's and what was going on. But let's kind of jump in and talk about it a little bit. Merkle trees. 1982, aka blockchain, and I don't know if you remember 1984, Dan.
I do.
George Orwell and so forth. I was in New York City on New Year's Eve, 1984.
Yep.
And I'll never forget. I was in with a bunch of my university buddies. We went to a party, and there was paper. It was like at the loft. And there was paper up on the wall, and everybody was writing "No Big Brother" and everything. So,
hello, we were doing this. We were doing the same thing.
Yeah, and then a little Pink Floyd reference here.
Yeah.
We don't need no education. Yes, you do, because you've just used a double negative. So, all this stuff was thought about, and we were thinking about it way back in the 80s. And this guy, Merkle, was actually patenting it. And that's where Merkle trees came from. 1982, Merkle trees came from. And the Merkle tree is a method for authenticating digital signatures. It was patented in 1982. So here's the thing. Patents last 20 years.
Right.
So that patent ran out in 2002 at the dawn of this internet we know today, right?
Correct. Right at the dawn of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we said, everything old is new again. Not really. It's really a bunch of stuff that's been happening around these technologies. Speaking of which, the Metaverse was first mentioned in the Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson in 1991. Go on Wikipedia. It's a great story about the snow crash. He was actually trying to take the Mac and write an automated book. That's what he was really trying to do. And a graphical novel, because the Mac was so fresh back in those early days. And people are like, no, we could do all this cool stuff. Right. And, I think I just had to pull this picture because there's Mark when that was published, right? This is not new.
Right.
I had really started my career in computers and programming and things like that back in those days. And in 1996, I was in Portland, Oregon, and I built my first Metaverse in 1996 using a code base. It's called VRML, which was virtual modeling markup language. And everybody knows what HTML is, I assume.
Oh,
HTML. So the thing is that this idea of the Metaverse has been around for a long time. 3D's been around for a long time. The biggest programs out there like Maya and Blender, 1994, 1996. There's some really cool stuff out there in 3D. It just never took hold because it was too far ahead of the human consciousness at the time to really, the internet was big enough. Right. And there's only so much our tiny little pea-sized brains can take in, right?
Yeah, well, what's interesting to me also too, Tim, is as soon as Facebook renamed themselves to Meta, all of a sudden every big tech company is talking about Metaverse like it's something new.
Yeah, like it's something. You know what? It is the hype of the moment, and
Correct.
it's great. I mean, it's great for us guys in the digital world. But we're going to talk about and show people is why you need a wallet. We talked about that. Why you need a vault. Like every person needs a vault now. Just admit it. You need a data vault. You need and you use it every day now. You use your data vault, whether it's on paper or up here. We've got a really good system in Canada. We've got a really good system for vaccines, and they scan my vaccine passport up here in British Columbia every time I go anywhere.
Wow.
Right. So yeah, it's just instant. They go, boom. Yep. That's real. It's not fake. And now I got a vaccine passport. That's going to happen in every country, which is why, spoiler alert, we'll be launching. I can't say it now. Now that's certain, right? Because you're going to need it just like your passport, book, boom. You're going to need that for your vaccines. So it's data, guys.
And a huge benefit versus pulling something out of your wallet that's all George Costanza off of Friends that's, bent up.
Let's compare. Let me see if I can find mine really quick and compare Canada to the US here. So you got your paper one.
Right.
And I'm trying to pull up mine. There we go. Boom. And there's can you see mine?
Yep.
That's the difference.
That's a huge difference.
Technology, folks.
Right. Because I'm never going to forget my cell phone, but who knows when I could misplace something that is in paper form.
Exactly. And every country, every locale, lockdown.
Need some sleep, Tim?
Because Australia just locked down again, I guess. But every locale is going to have a different type of this passport, this vaccine passport, right?
Exactly.
And over time, it will evolve. But when we look at like what happens over a decade or two, takes a little, like what was the famous quote from Jobs? Takes a very long time to become an overnight success.
It does.
Right. So, a data vault, every person with a personal data vault, why would you do that? I mean, really, at the end of the day, why would you do it? It's a better question is, why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Right. I mean, give me a break. These guys, and I keep pointing back to that article I wrote in Forbes at the dawn of the COVID pandemic, but go read it. I mean, look it up. It's about data privacy, and that's the monetization model that has driven every ad, everything you see. It's all about your data. And don't take it from me. Take it from somebody who's also been talking about this for a very long time.
Yeah, at least 7 to 10 years.
It was very enjoyable to watch Don the other day on the webinar, and he said data is being captured by these corporate conglomerates. I love this. The virtual you knows more than you do about you.
Yeah, because can you remember 3 years ago when you happened to go anywhere and the virtual you knows that. They know when you've gone anywhere, what you've done, where you've gone, and it's scary.
Well, I got to tell another story. Okay, so the virtual me. So I created a virtual me. I tested Facebook's algo years ago. So when my son, who is also Timothy Vasco, only he's got his PhD, doctor. So he and I were talking, and when he was in high school, kids used to call me senior.
Right.
So I'm sure this is still out there. So Facebook's coming out. Of course, I'm looking at it from a tech standpoint. I get on. He's got Timothy. So I go senior or Tim. So I go, okay, I'll be senior. So I go senior Vasco. And that was really in the early days of Facebook. There were some interesting things, like there were some websites that came out that said OMF or OMG, my parents have Facebook, or things like that when it was all kids, right? So I'm on there as Senior Vasco. And then I read about the patent that Google was getting, what was an inferential patent. And I'm like, let's see how good their algo is. So I created Timothy Vasco, and I just put it up there, and I waited. I just waited. I put nobody up there or whatever, and it just sat there, and it kept sending me suggestions. And pretty soon, what happened is my aunts and uncles and extended family started finding that, because they wouldn't know Senior, right?
Right.
But the algo went out and found my family, started making friend suggestions, right?
Correct.
So this unused site, to this day, I barely ever gone on it. This unused Facebook site is going up there, and it's going, oh, here, Martha's looking for you, and your Auntie Rose is looking for you, and da-da-da-da. So that all happens. And eventually, and this is what I was thinking would happen, eventually the algorithm invited Senior. Would you like to friend yourself? That's how it works, right?
Yeah. Well, Tim, just 2 nights ago, I had an experience, and I know how it happened, but it just kind of shocked me, because I was on Facebook. We have to for business. We were posting some jobs, and I was in a marketing group doing that. And then that night, I was actually on my computer, so that my desktop. That night, I went on to Instagram on my cell phone. And the only thing I really have there is cycling and the things that are important to me or that I like to look at. But the first thing that opened up was something from that marketing group, and it was a whole bunch of ads and other things. I'm like, wow, that followed me from my desktop to my cell phone.
Yeah, your mobile. It's
to my mobile.
So what we call that in technology, and we've also got this embedded in the Blockstreet's blockchain, is IAM. So it's called Integrated Access Management.
Exactly.
When you go on and you're connecting, or you're saying, yeah, sync up, it's saying, okay, you've given me permission to now put this on all your devices, track everything, follow you everywhere. And little known fact, if you go into myactivity.google.com, that may not be the URL, but if you put up My Activity Google, you'll find it, and or it will find you. Look at it. And there's an entire history of everything you've ever done on Google. So when we look at this, this idea of search privacy has come out. A very successful web browser and search engine, DuckDuckGo, started. And now you can go on that. It doesn't track you. That's their big thing, right? So I'm not tracking you. And then the Brave browser, which came out, which was a really interesting crypto drop that happened in 2017, I think. And that browser, which is basically a knockoff of Chrome. It's a Chromium-based browser. Google open sourced Chrome quite some time ago. Yeah. So you can build your own browser, and Brave dropped, and I think in 30 seconds got about a $30 million pop from its crypto drop. So it was really interesting because people knew about it. They created a community around it, and boom. And what Brave does, it's an interesting business model too, is they say, okay, well, we're going to block all those ads, block all those trackers, block all those cookies automatically. And if you go visit a Google site like YouTube, for example, it'll say, oh, well, we can't block this, or you can't look at it. So Google won't even let you look at it unless you're tracking on YouTube, right?
Yeah, you have no choice.
You have no choice. And that's a really interesting word. That's why we call our program Choice.
It is.
Right? We have no choice. We're trying to bring that to the internet here. And so anyway, those browsers are out there, and those are kind of the first iteration of this idea of data privacy. Right. Like, how can I get out there and do what I want to do without having stalkers that have all my data access?
Right.
And this extends so deep. It extends incredibly deep. and it will continue to extend deep. It extends into our credit scores. It extends into our literally everything in our life. And I love this graphic because it just says, where is blockchain going to be? And it's too small to read, but it's like automotive, banking, finance, charity, cloud storage, on and on and on and on, all the way up until you die, wills and inheritances. Well, we're saying here at BlockSearch, hashtag every business on blockchain. And literally, why would you do that? Because you don't own your personal data and you don't own your business. The conglomerates do. The big tech companies do. And no matter,
Tim, I got into a conversation with a business owner yesterday, and boy, just the light bulb went on in terms of what we're doing and what is able to happen here just because of security of your data. And do you really own your data? What happens if one of those big companies gets breached and it's your client's data? What kind of exposure do you have? What kind of risks? And it's just an amazing thing if you're able to actually protect versus go along with the norm, which is happening today.
Exactly. And so, it basically boils down to three things in our lives that we need to cover. And it all involves around one thing, data.
Right.
So the first thing is you got to have a vault. If you want to start getting control, just get a vault, like get something and stick it there. And then as this stuff emerges, you're starting to build this force field around your data that you control, right?
Right. Yeah.
The second is every business on blockchain, literally every business needs to have a blockchain. And spoiler alert number 2, we're going to show people next Friday.
Next Friday. Yeah.
Next Friday, right?
Right.
And the third thing that's the big evolution that should be no surprise to everybody is every business is now a bank. Every bit. And this open banking model that is mandated in the UK now, all these open banking APIs. I mean, just look at how fast stuff can happen outside of banks. But inside of banks, you've got these stodgy old systems that are, brutally slow and brutally inefficient.
Right.
So payments, and how do we do that? It's called tokens. Right? All of this is driven by one little connector that goes all the way back to that 1982 Merkle tree and travels around and gives you all this power, right?
Yeah.
And that's been being built for 30 years.
Right. Even to do a wire transfer, as you know, somebody does a wire yesterday and you've got to wait until the next day and for a confirmation, and then maybe by the next day. I mean, even something as instantaneous as a wire transfer, it's at least 24 to 48 hours.
Exactly.
And that's why this is just it's efficient, and that's why this is taking over the world, because it's just more efficient.
And the banks do know it.
Yeah.
SWIFT, which is the International Wire Program, I think was established in the 70s.
Right.
They know it. They're on blockchain. So blockchain is going to be in every business, and every business is a bank now, and they're going to have that. So let's kind of look at then what this all comes back to, the spoiler alerts for next week, okay? Web 3.0, crypto, and the metaverse. What do they all have in common? They all have one thing in common. They're all built on data. And data is absolutely useless as a big bucket until you put the software and algorithms behind it.
Right.
So when you put all these applications behind it for users, as well as on the back end for AI and analytics, that's when you get this thing working for you, right?
Right.
That's what we are dropping next week to people, to every person. So you get to choose when the on and off switch to your data is available, right?
Yeah, and once you do this, it's an interesting transformation that I know has happened for me and a lot of people that we work with, is that you stop yourself when somebody says, oh, send me an email with a link or send me an attachment. And then you realize, wow, that's going through a place that's collecting that information, that is taking it out of my control. So there are many different things that do happen and will happen once you start to work in this whole different sphere of privacy and protection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, Dan, so I love always saying to people that that this is what's going to happen. We do that on the World from Here. But the fact is that we're releasing this, our best version ever of this. Literally, we've had it out. We've been working it. As you say, we use it every day. And
Right.
we're releasing our best version ever of it. You on blocksearch.com, you can see it. But what is Vault Certain? Just go visit us right on blocksearch.com. It's all right there. And you can see all of the different distributed apps that we're releasing one after another with new versions almost every week now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can go down and get these. You can get all of these wallets right now on the web. You can download it. Again, new versions coming out. We're constantly updating that. And so, you know, we talked about the Merkle trees and authenticated signatures. Is it in BlockSearch? Yep, right there, right? We talked about the Vault. Is it in BlockSearch? Right there. Yep. You know, and they're all there. All of these apps we're talking about. This isn't a white paper. This is a true cloud company that literally every person can get in and start driving their data. And I'm going to show next week some really cool stuff about how that happens real time, live.
Yeah.
Live.
Okay. Yeah, and what's significant about this, Tim, and as you know, and you built this, and you and 60 others and 2 million person hours, but
more than 60, I would say we've probably had close to 500 over the years, maybe 500-600 developers on this. So
yeah. So, but with that, what's significant is that you only enter if you have a private key. You enter through your wallet. And that's the differentiating point is, we talk about dApps and decentralized versus centralized, where you're hacked and followed. And that's the real importance of this is creating your own privacy in your own private world, in your own private cloud. And it's just amazing when you're able to sign in, use your access key to get in to do something that isn't being tracked.
And there's another thing I want to point out, Dan, which is really significant, which is this idea of a vault.
Right.
What else do you put in a vault?
Anything that's valuable, right?
You put money in a vault, right?
Yeah.
You can put anything that's valuable in a vault.
Yep.
And the other problem with the way that the market is built right now is it's like your checking account is wide open and you just are giving access every month for somebody to take money out.
Right.
Instead, we're flipping that on its head and saying, get a vault, our choice program is 9 tokens, put 9 tokens in it and sit on it. How many people wouldn't want to have 9 Bitcoin today?
Absolutely.
If you never use it, fine. It's not sucking the life out of you through interest, through user fees, through all these things that if you don't use it in a month, guess what? Your credit card's still getting hit. Now you got a 21% interest rate. Oh, maybe you're a really great credit card customer. It's only 15%.
I was just going to say 12 and a half, 15.
In a 1% economy.
Yeah.
Right? Is the credit card guys making any money? Nah. But that's the idea of a vault. Why wouldn't you do this? I just can't even comprehend why somebody wouldn't want to protect their data. If they use it, fine. If they don't, it sits there. It could actually go up. I mean, here's the one certainty in software today. Here's the one certainty with data and software. Data will get used by somebody else. Your data will get used by somebody else. And you will pay for your software.
Right.
You will lose money on your software every single month. You will pay, it will be a cost to you forever. Except now.
Well, and that's where it flips everything on its head. Take an expense and put it into an asset. Yeah, use it while you have it in your vault. and you compared this a few weeks ago with Apple, and what happened if you had that scenario with the iPad or the iPhone
right.
or the any device way back when that you spent $400 or $500 for, and what would be the valuation of that today if it were tied to the value of the company?
And this is not just us talking about this. Go look up the We Forum stakeholder capital. Go search that, right? So it's hard to get your head around this idea of decentralization. I've had a huge number of talks in our communities, join our communities on Telegram and so forth, about what it means to tie these new forms of economic stakeholder capital, if you will. I call it the decentralized open structure organization. But whatever you call it, it's hard to get your head around this. It's hard to get your head around a DAO. And I've talked about the DAO, the decentralized automated organization, that in 2016, the experiment failed, but you could see people were very interested because it raised $200 million in a week or two, right? So the point being that getting our heads around decentralization very quickly now with the applications, it's kind of a race to space, or let's say a race to the metaverse. Who's going to get to use my data? And fine, come up with cool 3D stuff. It'll be fun. I'm just giving you a platform to make sure that when you enter the metaverse or build your own, because we'll put that in block search too. Build your own. I'll show you how to do it. It's fun. If you're geeky or artistic or whatever, it's fine, sure. But protect your data. Put it in a vault. Put something in there that's going to have value down the road instead of just a pure cost. That's the model of blockchain for every business, right?
Yep, very transformative.
Let's talk about NFTs. What about all of those valuable brands and purses and things like that we've got out there hanging on the shelves and all that cool stuff? NFTs are here to stay too. So it's not just the business, it's the products of the business. We hear a lot about supply chain. How are we going to track that? How are we going to authenticate it? How are we going to prove it? Can we do that at BlockSearch today? Yep, right there. It's called Track Certain, right? So we've got a lot of these things built and that we're dropping out there that answer a lot of these questions about the hype that you're hearing in the marketplace today.
Yeah, and what's exciting is to see where we've taken this and NFTs as well, because started out with a digital house on Mars, and things that were kind of out there, but this truly is enabling an entire universe to track and to hold things that are valuable and to exchange things that are valuable in a whole new way.
Exactly. And so, when we look at our wallet, this is the latest release. Literally, I just downloaded this a few minutes ago. When we look at our wallet, we can create any wallet. This is your metaverse right here. Right. This is your metaverse meets reality. Guess what? The metaverse is absolutely worthless if we have climate change that kills us all. It makes no difference if we can't operate in the real world. Then how are we going to have a metaverse to even go mess around in?
Yeah, and Tim, what I'm viewing here is the App Store of the future. The App Store of the future tied to blockchain. This is an absolute first.
And live today. We're right from here, Dan. I can start my video meeting with you. I can have my IM. I can have my wallet. And this is all private to you and me or anybody, right? Yeah. So once I do that, throw some 3D in here, bada boom, bada bing, I got a private metaverse. Just go. And this is live. This is live stuff. That's what we're dropping. I guess that would be spoiler alert 3. Spoilers everywhere, like the little image set.
Right.
Right. So really that's what we're dropping, is this idea of all these dApps going out there in the latest version, the live versions and so forth, and all driven through BCert tokens. It just, that's how it's done.
Yeah, and what's exciting about this, Tim, is I'm hearing feedback from, like we have a number of pilots that are using this, that have used this in the beta version, that are making web calls back and forth. That I heard from one pilot that said, "Oh my God, I just realized I can upload all of my important documents into this vault certain, and it doesn't matter anywhere in the world where I am. If I need to pull up my car insurance or my house, anything I'm doing, instead of having to wait for a week when I get home to look in a file, I've got it right there on my laptop or on my smartphone."
Exactly. And cloud storage has been out for a long time,
Right.
But encrypted cloud storage that actually uses our interplanetary file system, that hasn't been out for a long time. The technology, however, is brilliant. And that started in about 2009, 2010.
Right.
So if you look at this, Dan, for personal, what's everybody need? They need their wallet. They need their vault. They need their ID. They need their vaccine. They need to be able to shop with confidence and get those NFT brands that are certain to them, especially if it's a high value purchase. They need to have their payments protected. They need to be able, we all know we're doing the meeting now. We got to do this virtual stuff. And I am certain, hey, I don't want my chats out there. I don't want my email hacked with malware and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just smarter. This is everybody. This isn't just a business. This is every person out there. For businesses, where I'm super excited. Work Certain has been a big project, and it's coming. It's dropping next week for ease of access for every business out there. I'm not just talking about small businesses. I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about a level playing field. Like, Work Certain is exactly what it means. And then teams, like, who do you collaborate with? Where are your ideas? Is somebody knocking you off? It's all tracked. It's all 100% tracked. And I know about people trying to knock off.
Exactly.
I know far too well about people. And I just I'm like, really? You're going to try that with block search?
Yeah, I know.
Really?
You had something yesterday. We won't, but if you can track everything which is in a private space, when we talk about tracking, it's different than being tracked. It's tracking the things that are internal within your own private cloud.
It's logging it. And we're going to show how every one of those logs is encrypted. Like, it's all there. It's encrypted. You and I unlock our private keys. We've got our history. We unlock our private keys. Now, if we want to share that, great. Sometimes you want to. That's called marketing. That's called sales. That's called user presence, right?
Yeah.
So,
Tim, 30 or 35%, I read a statistic of Fortune 500 companies, 30 to 35% is spent on litigation, on legal. And, what will this do for discovery when everything is shown, your intent, all the documents, videos? It leaves no question in terms of,
absolutely.
A contract, a signed contract.
All you got to do is open up the log and say, there it is. There's the story. The story's already been, stories that we build in our lives happen as we're doing transactions,
right?
Especially in business. And there are far too many people who want to use those factual stories to reinvent history, right? And Dan, I've even had, I've had these comments over the years, and one of them I just love. Whenever somebody says something to me like this, I should just walk away. In this particular instance, I didn't. It was a mistake. But the guy said to me, well, what if I don't want to be tracked? What if I don't want that recorded? Right? And I'm like, that's an interesting comment. And so I looked at him, I said, well, other than the NSA, use a phone.
Right.
I mean, because you hit our server, you hit block search, it's going to be encrypted. It's going to be there. And if I got a private key, I'm going to be able to go to that date, that time, that place, and prove that's what was said, done, uploaded, boom.
The value of the
literally will do
blockchain,
that in
immutable
seconds,
ledger.
in literal
Yes.
seconds, right?
Right.
So, and interestingly enough, and this is really important, so can Google,
Right.
so can Facebook. The difference is when you get this, and I'm going to show you this next week, when you get this on BlockSearch, it's an encryption, it's a hash, it's cryptographically non-human readable.
Right.
You cannot get to it unless you have that private key. That's the difference. And it's a big difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so we're kind of running out of time, Dan.
Yeah,
but,
we are. We
I
wrap
just
this
want
up.
to jump in and say, hey, BlockSearch Black Friday next week happens right here.
And for some reason, it's flashing. That I know
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
flashing.
meaning to,
It's the blue light special. So there's going to be some really cool stuff that we're releasing. There's going to be some really cool benefits that we're going to throw out there, from rewards to how this all works. The crypto side of it, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to talk about how crypto works on BlockSearch blockchain, how we bridge over to Ethereum right now. You can go on, you can do your NFTs, lots of stuff. We may have a guest speaker. We may have somebody. Don't know. It's no more spoiler alerts.
right?
And, I love this. I don't know what it is, but it's on sale.
That's right. So, let me through that door.
Yeah. So you got to show up. You got to show up to find out what it is. But in the end, we're all about cloud power to the people. And, cloud power to the people means that we want everybody in this universe to have equal access and to be able to control their data, their privacy, their security, and all of that.
Awesome, Tim. So thanks everybody for joining us. As Tim's showing here, please click on the thumbs up button, and please subscribe if you haven't. I've noticed that about half of the individuals that come and watch haven't subscribed. So if you could, please do so. We appreciate you. And Tim, wrap this baby up.
So let's wrap it up, everybody. I'd like to say it was flashing there. That's my box. I don't know. It's just saying, hey, don't miss next Friday, 9:30.
Yeah.
Friday morning live, BlockSearch Black Friday. And everybody, please stay safe, stay healthy. I know there's a big spike. Watch out. Go get a vaccine, for God's sakes. And get your vault, get digital, but get your vault. Protect your data and your future.
Yeah, and we'll see you again next Friday, which is going to come in like 48 minutes, I think. The way
I think so. It seems like it.
These weeks fly by. So
have
thanks,
a great
everybody.
weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you